this lesson starts chapter 8. It's the first lesson in chapter 8. We're going to be dealing with equations and inequalities in chapter 8. So for this one, we're doing the solutions of equations. So an equation is a statement showing that two expressions are equal. So here's some examples. So notice that we have 8 plus 12 equals 20. We have the expression 8 plus 12, and we have the expression 20, and there's an equal sign between them showing that they're equal. So equations will have an equal sign. Then we have 14 equals a minus 3. So 14 is an expression, a minus 3 is an expression, and this is showing that they're equal. Alright, so in this next equation, you have 2d equals 14. So you have the term 2d, and you have, or the expression 2d, and you have the expression 14. Okay, a solution of an equation is a value of a variable that makes an equation true. So that means that the solution would be whatever we could put in for this variable to make it true. So when we put in 2 for x, 2 plus 3 equals 5. So that means that 2 is the solution because it makes it true. Now, if you are making up this lesson, or if you are at home doing this lesson, make sure you pause the video and are writing this stuff down in your notebook when you need to. Alright, so example 1. We have w plus 5 equals 29, and we need to figure out if 14 is the solution or if 24 is the solution. So what we're going to do is down here, we're going to rewrite w plus 5 equals 29. But then we're going to replace the w with 14. What's 14 plus 5?
19.
Is 19 equal to 29?
No.
So that would mean this is not a solution. So 14 is not a solution. So now we'll try putting in 24 for w. So we start with w plus 5 equals 29. We'll put in 24 for w. What's 24 plus 5?
29.
Is 29 equal to 29?
Yes.
So this is the solution. So just write solution. So 14 was not the solution. 24 is the solution. Any questions on that one? Does everybody have that written down before I turn it? Okay, if I have to turn the page, but you may be able to keep doing it on the same page. It just depends on how much room you have. Okay? Alright, so for example 2, we have x minus 7/10 equals 4 3/10. And we're going to replace x with 3 6/10. So right here, after you write the example down, go ahead and rewrite it with 3 6/10 for x. Make sure you're writing neat. Alright, so what is 3 6/10 minus 7/10? 2.9. Is 2.9 equal to 4.3?
No.
So that means this is not a solution. All right, then we'll move to example 3. All right, so in example 3, we have 1/3 A equals 1/4. And remember, 1/3 is your coefficient, A is your variable. What operation is happening between your coefficient and your variable? Adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? Multiplying. So this is like saying 1/3 times A, and instead of A, I'm going to replace it with 3/4. Okay, so just remember that. That's the biggest thing that people forget, and when they're having questions on the page that they do on their own, it's always the ones where they're having to multiply. If it's right next to a variable, you're multiplying. Another reason you want to have this written down in your notebook is so you can go back and look at it when you come to those problems. All right, so on this, when I have 1/3 times 3/4, I can cross cancel. What numbers can I cross cancel? The 3's. 3 are going to 3 once. 3 are going to 3 once. 1 times 1 is 1. And 1 times 4 is 4. So what do we notice here? It's a solution. I gotta read the word problem for the next one. I didn't make y'all write it down in your notebook. Alright, so for the next example, the 6th grade class president serves a term of 8 months. Janice has already served 5 months of her term as class president. The equation m plus 5 equals 8 can be used to determine the number of months Janice has left. So, this is the total months. This is the months that's been served. So this would be the months left. That's months, months left. So how could we figure out what would go where m is? Well, you know that what can you add to 5 to get 8? 3. Another way to do this is if you look on the other side of the equal sign and you take 8 and you subtract 5, what do you get? 3. So m would have to be 3. And that's all we do on that one. We're not saying solution or non-solution there. We're telling what m would be. Any questions there? I think we got... All right, turn to page 295. This is in your book. You don't have to write this in your notebook. 295. Even though you're not writing this in your notebook, you still need to be writing down what I write in the big book, okay, on page 295. So don't think that that means you're not writing any of this. Because again, these are your examples to refer back to. Okay, so for number 1, we've got to see if 7 is the solution. So we're going to rewrite, underneath x, we're putting 7, and we're rewriting the rest. So 7 plus 12 equals 29. Then 7 plus 12 is 19. Is 19 equal to 29? No. So this is not a solution. That could have waited. Don't get up and go throw stuff away in the middle of class. All right, number 2. We have n minus 13 equals 2. So we're replacing n with 15. So we're rewriting 15 minus 13 equals 2. 15 minus 13 is 2. So what do we notice here? 2 or 15 would be the solution. What are we going to do on number 3?
You have to do 1/2 times 28.
You have to do 1/2 times 28. So what can we put under the 28? A 1. That way it's in fraction form. And notice how you said we do 1/2 of. The reason you'd say of is because we multiply there. That word of means multiply. Alright, so I could do some cross canceling, or I could multiply across and then divide, but I'm going to go ahead and cross cancel. 2 will go into 2 once, and 2 will go into 28 14 times. So when I multiply, 1 times 14 is 14, and on the bottom, 1 times 1 is 1. Is there any point in pointing that 1 there?
Nope.
So 14 is equal to 14, so that means that 28 would be the solution. I'm just going to write it over here on the side this time. Does that make sense? Alright, number 4. We're replacing m with 2.9, or 2 9/10 to say it correctly. And then we're rewriting the rest. So when we add 2.9 and 2.5, what do we get?
5.4.
5.4. Is that equal to 4.6?
No.
No, so that means this is not a solution. Go ahead and take a minute and do number 5 and number 6 on your own. Alright, go ahead and check your number 5. Did anybody have any trouble with number 5? Alright, then let's look at number 6. We had to get a common denominator, and I did those horizontal instead of vertical. Did anybody have any trouble with number 6? Okay, does anybody have any questions before you do any other problems? Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to continue and work on 7 through 13. On 7, 8, and 9, you're either saying solution or not a solution. On 10, 11, and 12, you've got to tell me what the variable would be. Okay? So you're not saying solution or not a solution on those, you're just telling me what the variable would be. Then when you get to number 13, they give you the equation in the middle of it. Do you see the equation in 13? Okay, so then you're going to look underneath it where it says determine whether. Do y'all see that part? And it's got 3 different options for C. You're going to try each option until you find the one that's correct. Does that make sense? Okay, if you have any questions, you can come ask me.